All right, hello and welcome to another edition of the Rithmm Rundown, hosted by myself, Josh Applebaum, my buddy, my fellow wise guy, Mr. Cade Harper. Cade, it is a special Wednesday edition, Thanksgiving Eve edition of the Rithmm Rundown. So excited to, I don't know, give you guys some entertainment before you're, getting your turkey ready or going out to the bar, as we like to say, Cade, in New England, and meeting up with some old friends. So if you're going out tonight, don't be an idiot. Don't drink and drive. Make sure you have an Uber or get somebody to pick you up. But Kate, I'm excited to do another show with you tonight because we got a huge slate of games tomorrow. Got a fantastic triple header here. So we're going to talk Packers Lions. That one's interesting to me because the market's going one way. And again, there are some angles to kind of go the other way. So we'll talk through that. Chiefs and Cowboys. I got to play on that one. Bengals Ravens. I know is close to your heart as a big Bengals guy. I think we might kind of overlap on that one a bit. And then we're going to talk the rest of the primetime games. So we got to talk about the Bears game against the Eagles. That one's sitting at around 7, and there's kind of an angle there I think we can take advantage of. My Patriots hosting the Giants. They should blow them out, right? Well, we'll see. That's a 7.5 spread that hasn't moved either way. And then there's a couple other games I want to throw at you, some gross dogs on Sunday in the NFL. And then there's one college game. We could pick a lot of college games, but wanted to focus mostly on NFL. But in terms of college, there's one dog that's getting double digits. Rithmm says they should be getting about only 5 points. So I'm excited to throw that one at you. So again, thank you to everyone for tuning in on this special Wednesday edition of the Rithmm Rundown. Cade, how you doing, my man? What are you doing for the holidays? Are you hosting? You going to the in-laws? Are your parents throwing the big turkey dinner? How you feeling on Thanksgiving Eve?
Yeah, we have several family dinners loaded up on the slate for this weekend. So I gotta come with empty stomachs. We have one tomorrow. We have another one on Saturday. We have a couple on Friday. I'm like, yeah, we got the whole family. We got both sides here going. So yeah, we gotta please everybody and try to stay awake in a matter of a couple of these days. So we'll get there though.
Well, don't worry, Cade. You're a youngin'. Your metabolism works well. You're a skinny dude. Don't worry. When you get into your mid to late 30s, it's a lot harder to bounce back, and the turkey hits you pretty hard. So enjoy it while your youth is there with you, buddy. But yeah, we just wanted to mention before we get to these games to really highlight some of these awesome advancements that Rithmm has been making to the website and the app, because we do have the brand new homepage. So if you kind of peruse the homepage, it's pretty cool. You have a lot of these upcoming game breakdowns you can easily get to. And then, of course, when you want to, kind of scroll down and get to the props, we've now made it really easy for users of Rithmm to identify, how many and which smart signals and recommended plays fall on each game. But what people are really excited about, and I am too, Cade, is Rithmm now adding almost like a bet sync. So if you don't know what a bet sync is, basically some of these apps, if you log into the app and you want to place a bet, it'll take you directly to the sports book. So you don't have to log out, log back into your online account. It just basically makes it much easier for you to jump on a number, especially when numbers move so quickly, Cade. Like if you like a dog 3.5 and Rithmm highlights it in the app, you want to be able to just, hey, take me to DraftKings, take me to FanDuel. Let me get that bet in before it moves too much. So with that being said, we'll go through all these games here, but this is pretty awesome how if you look at the bottom of the tab here and you click, DraftKings, this DraftKings integration is now available. So you'll be able to go straight to the sports book to place your bet. And again, we got a bunch of books coming here. So again, we always try to highlight kind of the new cool features that Rithmm is adding, making the obviously the biggest thing is these awesome AI models where we can act as our own sharps and take advantage of discrepancy plays. But then you have some of these other little features that can just make your life so much easier, where you don't really have to leave Rithmm other than when you want to go directly to a book and place your bet. So I just wanted to highlight a few of those. And just a reminder, as always, we have our leaderboard contest up top. So if you want to join that, you can win up to $1,000. We have our Refer a Friend, where you can take advantage and get rewarded, not just you, but your friend as well. And you can also join the Discord channel if you want to talk to some other Rithmm bettors here. So with that being said, Cade, let's just go through these games because we got a lot to get to on this Thanksgiving Eve pod. Let's start with Packers and Lions. Now, this one's interesting. And again, the new homepage, you can go right to it right here. But there's kind of a lot going on with this game. So on the one hand, it's pretty clear this line has moved a bit toward Green Bay. We opened this game mostly Lions -3. There's still some threes out there, but a lot of books have gotten down to 2.5. But if you look at the betting market, Cade, I mean, there is such massive support for the Lions. And I can't really just say it's only public because at DraftKings, 82% of bets are laying it with the Lions, but it's 90% of the dollars. Same thing at Circa, 80% bets, 92% of dollars. So I can tell you that the odds makers, the books, they're going to root for the Packers in this spot just because they're getting such heavy Detroit Lions support. What makes it difficult for me is that we have conflicting models on this game, and we also have kind of a contrarian angle clearly on the Packers. But I must say, a lot of people I respect in the industry really like the Lions in this spot. To me, the angle for the Packers would be you got to get the 3. You also are in a very good contrarian spot. You know, you could tease the Packers up 2.5 to 8.5, go through some key numbers. So that would make sense. But it's also a divisional dog angle, which we like as well. Then we get to some of these models. The first one that jumps out to me, or the first thing I noticed, Cade, none of them are in green. So none are green stars. None are recommended. Your first model here says Packers should only be getting about a point, 0.9 of a point. Second model says minus 1.7 for the Lions. Third one has Lions minus 1.8. So it's a tough handicap. I will throw this at you though, Cade. If you look at Thanksgiving Day favorites, just this triple header, this day, it's been really good for the chalk. So since 2004, over a 20-year sample, favorites are 38-20 against the spread, 66%, 28% ROI on Turkey Day. The other ankle is, remember, week 1, you did see, really Green Bay roll over the Lions 27-13, and it's hard to win. It's hard to sweep a divisional opponent, especially when two good teams like Packers and Lions. So I'll defer to you, Kate. My play is going to be on the total. We'll get to that in a second. But how do you break down this game? Again, a lot of betting on Detroit. It's kind of moved toward Packers. Rithmm is saying maybe you take the 3 of the Packers, but to complicate it, and that's why betting is hard, Thanksgiving Day favorites do very well. So what's your play, if you have one, Cade, on Packers-Lions?
I've been on this one for about a week now. I had it as soon as it touched. And honestly, I thought that this was going to shoot up. So I kind of have, I don't want to call it a bad number. I mean, I have a flat 3 on the Lions. I have it for minus 3. That is for even money, though. So I have an even money at DraftKings right now. Obviously, that has kind of changed, obviously, since then. I expected it to go up, but I'm not necessarily surprised that it went down in a way, considering how dominant Green Bay was in the first game this season, where they had them at Lambeau, and it just didn't feel like it was close. And they let off the gas in the second half, and they kind of let them work their way back into the game. Simply put, I mean, like, Green Bay's regressed a ton since that game. Like, they haven't looked like the same offense. They've regressed a ton. You can argue overrated, maybe, and follow the sharp movement on Green Bay all you want. That's perfectly fine, and I totally get it. But yeah, the system within the Thanksgiving favorites is ridiculous, and it has been for the last few years specifically. So there's a revenge angle that you're looking into this. Dan Campbell's had this thing circled ever since he lost that game. If there's one guy that I know that wants to just run this up, it's going to be him. And I just do not see them dropping this game at home. And you can argue last week it might have been a look ahead. That might have been why they came out so sluggish, honestly. But yeah, I've had this one locked in for a minute, and I'm pretty firm on holding it personally. But my models as well were, conflicting a little. So
yeah, I totally get that. Again, I'm the kind of better that I try to really just stay true to what the market is telling me. Heavy betting Lions moving toward Packers. But as you mentioned, I hit on a second ago, these Thanksgiving Day favorites have done very well. And really what you think about is when they're cashing and covering 66% of the time, Cade, over a 20-year sample, when you have a triple header, you can say to yourself, probably 2 out of these 3 games will have a favorite cover. So is this the early one where you get one of them right out of the way? I mean, if you look back toward last year, you had the Lions play the Bears. They were favored by 9.5. I remember this game. They actually won the game, but only won by 3. So they were the favorite that did not cover. We then had the Cowboys beat the Giants 27-20. I don't know if people remember these games or not, but they covered the 4.5. And then Green Bay played the Dolphins. They won 30-17, covered the 3.5. So that just goes to show you, again, history doesn't guarantee that the present and the future are going to do exactly what we've seen in the past. But it is an indication that short week, holiday, I've heard theories of like, yeah, the favorites are the better team and the dogs just want to get the game over with so they can go have Thanksgiving with their family. So Sometimes you hear that with the NBA on like Christmas Day games as well. But it's hard to argue with a trend that's so consistent, 2/3 of the time covering long term. So I got to respect that. Again, this is a no play for me. I'll be rooting for you, Cade, in your bet. But if you tell me like Green Bay, man, that is a big contrarian play. Only getting like 15, 20% of tickets, heavily bet, divisional dog. My play, Cade, I'm going to take the under in this game. I like the total to go under. I think there's a couple angles here that you can kind of count on a bit. One is the fact that the line really hasn't moved at all. And if you look at the splits, the public is playing the over, expecting a shootout. Again, I don't know how many Packers games they've watched because Packers really haven't cashed a lot of overs this year, Cade. But it hasn't really moved off 48.5. You're even seeing some books get down to 47.5, 48. The 48.5s are really juiced to the under, -115. So it's a very popular game. Public's leaning over, but it stayed where it's at, even showed liability to the under. So it's a contrarian play to the under. I noticed that circa only about 35% bets, but over 50% of the money is on the under. And then here we go. Unlike the spread where we had some conflict, 2 Lions and 1 Packers, none green starred, the total all lining up here to the under. So 3 plays here on the under. One of them is a green star recommended play. First model has this total at 48.1. So again, it's not a huge discrepancy, but if it lands 48, you get the hook, you cash that ticket. Under 48.5, second model is 47.8, so a little bit more of a cushion. But the one I really like is this green star recommended play, 47.7. And again, the green star plays are, aside from the smart signals, really the most confident plays that Rithmm gives to us. So again, I feel like you can make cases for the side both ways, but it's pretty clear here that we have the Rithmm model saying to go under. You can bet against the public and go under. The liability across the market is on the under. I'm going under 48.5, taking the Rithmm recommendation here, Cade. Let me toss it to you. Thoughts on this under?
Yeah, and part of my cap kind of went into the under a little bit, just considering how I stated Green Bay's offense has, yes, quite regressed. Basically, you're just going to have to root for Dan Campbell to kind of lay off. But the good thing is, and I looked into this, and I might hop on this with you, and I know we talked about this before, I kind of like it to be one of these low-scoring blowout games because both of these teams like to run the ball. They are very good at it. However, on the other hand, you look at one offense, you have your running back who is not 100%, but who is active, Josh Jacobs. You lose Tucker Kraft, and you have a short-handed receiving core now. And ultimately, on the defensive side of that, the Lions are first in DVOA at home. So ultimately, if they're stopping one side of the ball, you just have to win the time of possession and hope to God that they just don't score as fast as you're expecting them to. I like where the model stands in terms of projection standpoint. It's right next to mine. I'm at 46.2. And yeah, ultimately, if they're agreeing, again, like we said pretty much since we started, if they're agreeing, it's a green light for me as well. So I might hop on that with you as well.
Nice. Love it. Let me throw one prop at you because I want to at least highlight kind of how easy it is to access these green star recommended plays and smart signals. So remember, you can always just click props to games. You can go back and forth, whichever one you're focused on. But if you click this Packers-Lions game, I'm going to go down to the receptions. So the one green star, a smart signal recommendation. And Kate, I feel like we've done multiple live streams on Amon-Ra St. Brown unders, and I feel like they seem to cash. I don't want to jinx it by like one catch. So you go under 7.5, he lands on 7. Under 6.5 lands 6. So it's going to be a sweat. And multiple times for me, it's been, hey, under 7.5, and like the first drive he has 3 catches, and you're like, Jesus, already we're behind the 8 ball here. But I gotta once again lean toward a star receiver in a very popular game where the public's going to hammer his over. We can go the other way, follow the AI model, and go under. So with Amon-Ra St. Brown, under 7.5. Now it is juiced up a little bit here, around -160 across the market. But it is a smart signal telling us that it is kind of matching a set of criteria and specific conditions that have cashed pretty good in the past here. So if you look at what Rithmm is predicting, 5.7 receptions. So that's a decent, almost 2 full catch edge between Rithmm and the betting market. So Cade, Amon-Ra St. Brown under 7.5. What do you think?
Same as we've always said about the smart signals this year. They have been pretty good. I don't know if we have an exact like win-loss rate on them quite yet. I kind of thought about digging back into all the previous episodes and just going over them just out of curiosity. But I do like the initiative of where they're coming from. Green Bay on the outside, they do like to play really close and tight with these kind of guys. They're more so lacking in terms of the slot. So if you're looking into props, you can look into guys like Khalif Raymond. You can look into guys like Jameson Williams. I know Laporta just got rolled out, so it's going to open up the short passing game. You might expect a lot of screens for Gibbs. We've seen with Dan Campbell calling plays now, it's going to be iffy. It's very different already. I don't know if I like it quite yet, honestly, but I'll let him do his thing, I guess. But all we got to do is don't let Amon get 8. Simple as that. But I mean, with the graph, I don't know I forget. I don't know what the exact date is, but whenever he started calling plays is where I would like to see this number kind of cut off. And I'm going to assume it's right after that game where he had like 9. Is that what that says?
Must have been this game, yeah. What's he been doing? Calling 2 or 3 games he's been doing it?
Yeah, it hasn't been very long. So I mean, if you're getting that, like, I mean, yeah, that's an absolute play for sure.
Yeah, good edge under 7.5. Again, Rithmm is predicting closer to around 6, 5.5, somewhere around there. I know it's kind of hard and it's an inexact science, Cade, but if you do look back to when he first went up against the Packers, it was week 1. A lot has changed since then, but he had 4 catches for 45 yards. Like, obviously that would, be a great result if you wanted to go under. And to your point, if it is a blowout, if the Lions, blow out, hopefully with the under cashing, but are you still going to be throwing the ball? I mean, I know Dan Campbell's kind of an outlier here, goes for it a lot, very aggressive, but if you're up 14, again, are you going to continue to throw the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't know. I would think the blowout would benefit, hopefully, Amon-Ra St. Brown going under, running the ball more, chewing up the clock, getting to the turkey dinner instead of just, pounding it to Amon-Ra St. Brown multiple times. So definitely wanted to highlight that under, which is a smart signal on the St. Brown under. Cade, you got the Lions here. I'm going to lay off the side. I'm going under 48.5. And you may join me on that. I'll let you think about that, man.
I might do it. I might do it. If not, I can honestly, I'm going to try to grab it live because I mean, if there's going to be quick scoring early, I mean, I'm guarantee you're going to touch a 50 at some point. So for sure.
Great point. Early scoring, live lines 55.5. Boom, you're going to get some value there, hopefully.
Easy.
All right, let's go to the second game. This is a game that I do have a play on. Chiefs, Cowboys. Now, we were talking last week about the Colts and the points. Rithmm had it closer to, I think, like a 1 or 2 point game. Colts probably should have won that game. They gave it up late. Thank God they covered that number in overtime, which was good to see. But now the Chiefs, on kind of a short week after you go to overtime, now have to go play Dallas. And again, if this is the old Chiefs, I don't know if you worry so much, but they've shown some issues here throughout the year. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Dallas is probably equally, desperate at this point, fighting for a playoff spot as well. Cade, I got to say, one of my best hits of the year where my blood was flowing and it was just like, this is why I love sports betting. Down 21-0, holding a ticket there, plus 3.5. The Cowboys come back. I tell you what, when that guy, the gunner, he gets hit, falls down, rolls around, gets up, boom, missile hits that guy. Again, ironically, they didn't score on that drive because idiot Schottenheimer went for it and didn't get it, I believe, if I remember correctly. But when he punched that ball out, man, it was like, that is why I love sports betting. That feeling you get when your team does something like that for you. So the boys, usually they're on my hate list. They're on my love list right now after covering that number last week. But call me crazy, I'm taking the points again. I like the Cowboys plus 3.5 in this matchup. It has moved toward Dallas, Cade. A lot of books opened. It was kind of an early opener. It didn't last long, but some of them were Chiefs minus 4.5, got down to 4, 3.5. A lot of them are down to 3. If you want to play Dallas, you got to get the hook here. You can still get it, but there's a lot of books down to 3, and it's like 3.5. Juice pretty heavily toward the Dallas side. So if you go to bed, you wake up, don't be surprised if it is down to 3. But I like the splits. DK, 58% bets, 74% dollars on Dallas. Circa, only 35% bets, 73% dollars on Dallas. If you look also at what I love to do with a dog is either you play great defense, cover the number, or you can score and backdoor cover or keep pace. Dallas averaging nearly 30 points a game, so dog who can score system match. But the great angle for me, Cade, even though they're not green star plays, they're all on the same side. They're all on Dallas. So first model, Cowboys plus 2.4. You're getting a hook on the 3.5. That's a full point edge. Second model, we have Cowboys plus 3.2. And third Rithmm model, we have Cowboys plus 3. So these are all models telling us, hey, take the points with the Cowboys. Maybe this is one of those classic, Chiefs win by 3 games, because that seems to happen a lot where the Chiefs will win by 3. But if you get the dog in the hook, just like you got with the Colts last weekend, you're going to cover this number. So I'm taking the points here, Cade. What are your thoughts on Dallas? And please don't get down 21-0. If you cover, I won't care, but don't make me so depressed early in the game like last week.
I'll give you a nasty, disgusting trend here that is not going to be in your favor, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
That doesn't mean I'm on Kansas City, though.
Give it to me.
Again, I've said it all, like we both agreed for the last 2 weeks now that fading Kansas City in these short spread spots, no matter what, it just somehow pans out and works out in our favor. Now, the Colts, they should have won that game, and I'm very upset about it still. But we got the 3.5, so that's all that matters. On the vice versa side, we're getting another 3.5 line for the Cowboys at home off of a big-time rival comeback. And you have, once again, the overvalued Chiefs that probably shouldn't be in a spot that they are in right now again. Nonetheless, since 2011, Cowboys are 3-11 against the spread on Thanksgiving. I did some reading in that, and I was going to take this. I was really going to take this. And a lot of my families, a lot of them are Dallas fans. So the house is going to be either really fired up or they are going to be out cold by the second half. I didn't pick a side, though. I picked the over. I'm rooting for points today on this one. I'm still not really trustworthy enough. Oh, man. I'm still not trustworthy enough in this Dallas defense, despite that they did hold Philly scoreless in the second half, which was much better. And this probably might be a pretty public over, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know where it's at now. I honestly didn't look at splits for this one either. Both offenses, though, you're top 5 in EPA per play. Both defenses will struggle, though, because both offensive strengths pretty much counter out both defensive weaknesses. Honestly, the Cowboys at home, very much so, just always fireworks popping off. Like you're hitting Pickens down the outside the numbers. You're hitting CD in the slot on these posts, on these quick slants, and he's a yak guy. Like he's catching the ball at the 40 and he's ending up at the other team's like 20. I don't know how, but that's the Dallas offense. I don't know. But they're putting up 20. Eagles defense is very good this year. It is very different. That's typically not what we've seen. We've seen typically it's their offense. And they've regressed a lot. Mainly it's their defense that's actually keeping into the games. But they put up 21 unanswered, or 24 unanswered. And they looked really good. They looked really consistent. And I'm going to keep backing that. If it wasn't for the turnovers, which is going to be what has to hit this for us here. We have got to limit the on both sides, really. I mean, Pat Mahomes made some poor mistakes against the Colts. I know he had a pick inside like the 10 on like really bad. I think Dak had a couple this past Sunday as well. I mean, the Chiefs offense, I don't want to say that they're elite, but they are very good. Second in EPA per play, fourth in success rate, fifth in offensive DVOA. They're just not good at finishing drives in the red zone. But Dallas defense is bad at stopping teams in the red zone. Because once you're there, it's like, come on in, water's fine. End zone's right there. It is what it is. So 52, pretty high. But wouldn't it just be nice to have some fireworks on a Thanksgiving Thursday? Right before the primetime game hits, it'll be nice. Yeah,
and to your point, you were wondering about the splits. I mean, it's not that, like, to kind of back you up on the over, it's not that popular. It's 55% of tickets at DraftKings on the over, so it's not like it's a 70, honestly, 80% or something like that. Again, Rithmm is saying kind of sell high and go under here. It is a big number, predicting around 49 points or so. Think Chiefs tend to play these lower scoring games, but Cowboys have been great to the over. So I think there's a case to be made kind of both ways there. but I wanted to throw a couple props at you, Cade. One would be selling high on Javonte Williams because he's been really just awesome. I think he's top 5 in rushing yards. And again, guy who was a free agent who could have gone anywhere, flamed out a little bit there. Who was it with the Broncos, but a pretty solid running back. But anytime a guy has a great week or is having a great year, the love of the public for that player is going to just get out of whack, out of control. And a lot of times you're going to see the odds makers, because this guy's hitting is over, they'll shade the number higher and higher. Therefore, if you want to play it, you're kind of having to take, the worst of the number. That's maybe a little bit higher than it should be. So if you're looking at the rushing yards here, it did jump out to me that Javonte Williams is a smart signal underplay. Now, you definitely worry about this a little bit because, again, he had, 87 last game, 93, 83. I mean, he's gone over quite a bit when it comes to this matchup. But again, I think when you're betting football, you got to take it on a week-to-week basis. He's going up against Chris Jones, really good defensive front, good defensive coordinator there with Spagnuolo. So can the Chiefs contain him a little bit? Rithmm is saying yes. So the betting market right now, Javonte Williams, 68.5 rushing yards, juiced a little bit to the under. To me, that's kind of a good sign because you have to pay a higher price to go kind of the opposite of what the public wants to do, which would be to go over. And Rithmm is recommending the under, saying, hey, under 68.5, he's probably closer to around 46.5 here, which gives you, a 22-yard edge between the betting market and Rithmm's prediction. So I'll ask you about that one, Cade, and then also throw this one at you. Ryan Flournoy. This is a guy who, again,
this is beautiful.
10 guys on the street. They may never know who this guy is. I've noticed he's made a couple plays here. But Ryan Flournoy, not CeeDee Lamb, not Pickens, not Ferguson, not, the guys for the Chiefs, whether it's, Xavier Worthy or some of these guys, but Ryan Flournoy. I love it when Rithmm has a smart signal on a random dude you never heard of, because that tells me that a lot of the back end data is highlighting this guy and finding an edge when the betting public really just doesn't care about the guy, because they're, the public's going to bet the affirmative, the yes, the overs to star players that they like. When you're getting a smart signal on a guy you never heard of, that almost gets me more excited to play it. So Flournoy, over 6.5 receiving yards. Can he get you 7 yards? That could be one catch. Rithmm is predicting 18.4 receiving yards. That is a big gap. Basically, triple what he's showing in the market almost. You also look at, I'll just throw you another guy, Schoonmaker. Again, everyone loves Ferguson. Can he get you 2 yards, Cade? Rhythm's predicting 14. It's a little scary because he had none against Philly, but he consistently went over this number week to week here. And again, you got to figure out with Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, is this a guy who's going to be on your, a smaller DB or a slower linebacker? Can he get you literally 2 yards? That jumped out to me. But Cade, I'll toss to you. Any love for Javonte Williams under? I saw your eyes light up when I hit on Flournoy or Schoonmaker. What do you think here? Cade, you might be muted, my man.
You are so right. I was clicking my mouse, and my mouse is really loud, so I try to mute it every time I do that.
All good, buddy.
Yeah, I'll start with Javonte. So Javonte, I've seen a few popular play, I guess, from what I've just seen on Twitter and maybe a couple articles that I've looked around. Javonte Williams under attempts, not necessarily yards. I'm assuming people are just expecting Cowboys to air this one out in this game, which makes sense. They do lack in the secondary more consistently than they do on the rushing defense in terms of portions and stuff like that. I make him right under at 14 attempts of 63 yards. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'd be all over it personally. I think you're fine either way, backing attempts or the yards. If the smart signal's on the yards, though, confidence will tend more to, or not smart signal, sorry, the recommended portion would be more towards the yards, I would say, personally, if you're looking at that kind of angle. As for Flournoy, I have him sitting at 24, and my God, yeah, I didn't know it was going to be that high. But I liked it. I've liked this guy ever since the last few weeks. I mean, I think he's caught a couple of touchdown passes within the recent weeks, like maybe last 3. I think he caught one Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Him and was it Schoonmaker? Did Schoonmaker get one?
I know he had a couple catches. Yeah.
I don't know if that was him in the end zone on that like one first and goal on I forget. I don't know. It was one of the tight ends. It wasn't Ferg though. I knew that. Nonetheless,
Spanford, wasn't it? Yeah,
that's who it was. I know it was some other weird one. But yeah, I mean, they're getting targets and they're getting consistent looks. That's Brian's offense, though. I mean, Dak is going to get balls to his playmakers no matter pretty much who they are. I think we've seen that throughout his career, no matter what. He's just one of those kind of quarterbacks. He doesn't necessarily, obviously, as a quarterback, your first reads are going to be your guys, but he's not necessarily afraid to go after Tolbert, who apparently just can't catch a ball this year. Or that's why Fournette comes in. He's like,
loves to fumble too. Yeah, that hurt last time.
So, I mean, I do like Fournette a lot this week. If I'm having, but Rithmm and mine both have them 20 plus, or is it 20 plus? Okay, 18, and I'm at 24. So, yeah, either way, that might be short with a ladder just for the fun of it. Honestly, I might do that just because I can. I mean, the last like lower, I don't want to call it lower name. I guess it's kind of rude on their part, but these lower tier guys especially with a line such as short as this, I mean, they've soared. I mean, you look at Pat Freiermuth, who went off for like 100 plus that 1 week.
Yep.
There was one last week that I'm blanking on, but it was just within literally one catch, and it was ease. I forget who it was. It was on another primetime game. We have so many of these smart signals, you guys, that just like ding. But yeah, and again, only time on these lower guys, I love backing them, and apparently my model likes them too. So I have Schoonmaker at 7 or 8. So yeah, on both. I would like both. I'll play all small. How about that? Let's just do that. Happy holiday.
When Flournoy gets you a 10-yard catch and you're with your family and you're the one who jumps up and they're like, what the hell are you like? What are you celebrating for? You just be like, don't worry about it. Don't worry.
The amount of times I dealt with that last year is unbearable. It's actually kind of funny. Yeah. Grandparents asking questions. Yeah. Never again. Sorry.
Yeah. What's your parlay, son? Yeah, that's what you're gonna get from your grandfather.
I didn't know you were a fan. Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here, man. This one I am excited to get your breakdown because I actually texted you prior to the show about this one. Bengals, Ravens. You're a Bengals guy. You helped us cash. I'll never forget when you're doing the stream from the car at the tailgate, the Bengals coming through, winning outright. I think, what were they getting? 5.5. They beat the Steelers outright. Whatever that number was. But this one is really interesting because we have huge variables at play here. Obviously, Bengals going to visit the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Burrow is expected to be back. Jamar Chase is going to play, suspended for a game. You're not going to have T. Higgins, though, because he, I think, is a concussion, won't play. And then Lamar Jackson, he's going to play, but, man, Jackson just isn't himself. He's not putting up numbers. Looks like to be probably a lingering injury, whether it's his foot or toe or whatever it is. And it's kind of a big number. I mean, if you look across the board, what we've seen for this one is, at one point when we didn't know Burrow would play or not, it was as high as like Ravens -10. Then it got down with Burrow expected to play all the way down to 7. And you're sitting at a lot of 7s right now where you're kind of in no man's land. It's, 7 -110 both sides. I'm interested in Cincy in this play here, Cade, especially if you can get a hook. So can you get a 7.5 by waiting it out? Can you find a book that is, juicing up a little bit toward Baltimore, -7, -115? You got the 105 with Cincy. Maybe you could buy him up. I don't love buying points, but I think around a hook is important because you can get it like -120 or less, lose by 7, cover with the hook, kind of like that mini, 3.5 win by 3 or lose by 3 and cover we talked about there with the Cowboys game. But the lines move toward, obviously, the Bengals. The splits look pretty good on Cincy. 57% bets, 75% dollars on the Bengals. That's at DK. At Circa, 68% bets, 93% dollars. And then you also match with a divisional dog. We've seen the divisional dogs do very well historically, covering nearly 54% of the time the last 5 years. You also look at a dog off a loss versus opponent off a win. That is 34 and 24 ATS this year, 59%. primetime dogs. They haven't been great. They're 19-18 against the spread. You're slightly below 500 because you're paying the juice, but they're closer to 54% last 5 years. But I know you're like this one, Cade. Joe Burrow as a dog in his career, 19-11 against the spread, 63%. Then, of course, cherry on top, what you love to see, all three signals here on the Bengals. First angle here, Bengals plus 5.4. Second model has Bengals Green Star plus 5.1. Third model has Bengals plus 6.4. So Rithmm is saying take the points. Line's moving toward the Bengals. There's questions about Lamar. Can he put up enough points to win by 8 or more? I like your Bengals here. I'm going to follow these smart signals and take Bengals. I'm going to try to find that 7.5 if I can. What do you think about this one, Cade? Should you take the points with your Bengals?
I'll start with yes. Short, sweet, and simple to the point. How about that? I have 2 plays in this one, and I might need a welfare check because of how much I might have to put down on either the Bengals. I can't decide what I want to put more on, the Bengals here or my other play, which is the under. Starting out with the Bengals, though. Again, you've pretty much led off with it. There's no need to really repeat it, but yeah, Ravens have not necessarily been that top tier Lamar Jackson-esque MVP caliber type of offense that we're kind of used to seeing. They're very much so middle of the pack in terms of like EPA per play, success rate, all that jazz. There's just not enough confidence in me right now to say that they win by more than a touchdown against a division dog or a divisional opponent, whatever. You get what I mean. Not there yet. Sorry. And Burrow, statistically, yes, he can not necessarily win on the road, specifically in Baltimore. However, spread numbers are completely different, and you pointed it out. Historically, he's been really good as a dog. But ultimately, and I said this in a couple episodes ago, I don't necessarily fully agree with him playing. But I do think obviously it's going to give somewhat of a morale boost. You have to think, right? Like some of these guys on the offensive side of the ball, they're, we got our guy back. Like we kind of have I don't know, we can start making a run at our shot here of a postseason push. You never know. Maybe there's got to be a little bit of a fire that's lit up under them. So they have a lot to play for. They definitely, I don't want to say I would say it's kind of a must win at this point, considering what are they, 3-8 now? Pretty close. I mean, you're pushing for a wild card spot, and it's crazy to say, but I mean, like, honestly, I think they can sneak in, honestly, if they get some magic going their way. If their defense just doesn't let up 50 points a game, that'd be amazing. Which brings me to the total, because quite frankly, I think that they do hold them. Now, the Baltimore Ravens team total, they're projected over 30 plus points in this game. Big fat disagree. There's no way in this world I am confident in saying Lamar Jackson right now is putting up 30 plus on any team, much less the worst defense in the league. I can't back that. 2 systems on this play. Windy divisional unders, okay? Weather is not supposed to be friendly whatsoever. I have them at 134 and 84. That is roughly hitting 60% ROI, which has been historically very well. And then if you look at an outdoor divisional under, which is a system that we have used several times in this show, 84 and 54, you are now sitting at 17% ROI. So you're fading a Baltimore offense, slightly fading a Cincinnati defense, but you're also backing them in a sense, if that can make sense. For my people who like to do the teases, if you really want to tease the Bengals spread up to like maybe a 13 and get the total inflated up to like a 56 or something closer to maybe a different key, you can try that. But ultimately, I honestly think that you are fine playing both straight up as your normal unit size, because that's how, I don't know. I just expect this to be a really scrappy divisional game where they keep it close and it's a lower scoring night. And yeah, ultimately, I'm just not really high on Baltimore offense. And simply put, the Bengals defense, I don't necessarily expect them to come out hot. I mean, you're already, like you said, already down T. Higgins. Burrow's got a game and a half under his belt. He's already been rusty when he's starting out the season. I just can't be confident enough to back both offenses there.
Yeah, great point by you. I didn't realize the weather. I should have, but Glad you pointed that out because I'm looking at the latest forecast. 35 degrees, 15-mile-per-hour winds, gusts up to 30 miles per hour. I mean, yeah, that's music to your ears of a divisional under, outdoor under, everything you mentioned. The weird thing is that it ticked up. I don't know what's the cause of that. I mean, it was like 50 and a half, 51. Now it's 51 and a half. I was noticing that I believe it got as high as 52 down. So that's like a 52 and a half, 27, 25 game, 52 cash with the hook. So if you want to wait out, maybe see if you can get around a 52, that's a quasi key number there with a total, not quite as big as like the 3 or the 7 with the side. But yeah, Rhythm's got 49, 47, 49.1. Again, those are some good discrepancies, especially in a windy under divisional game. So I might join you on that one now. You convinced me with that one there, Cade.
I did do it just because I was curious. Real quick, is that for the tease in terms of a spread and the total. If you get the Bengals 14.5 and you tease the under down to 57.5, I like to do these a lot for these kind of games. This one especially, I might do again. It's going to be bad with how much pending I might have on this game. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. Minus 110 though for both of those. 14.5 under 57.5 might be pretty safe. I think it's a good number if you're into it. If not, just play them both straight up, and I think you're fine either way personally. But
great point. That sounds like a pretty good teaser to me. I want to throw one prop at you before we get to the Bears game, the Friday game, and it was a guy near and dear to your heart. So let me go to the signals for this one. Noah Fant. So Noah Fant, over 1.5 catches, Cade. Now it's a smart signal, so right off the bat, boom, one of the best rated plays by Rhythm. Can he get you 2 catches? Minus 130 to the over, juiced up a little bit. Again, a lot of bettors say, hey, I don't want to pay the 130. I look at it as, yeah, it's a little pricey, but maybe pricey for a reason because that's the side that's taking in the sharp action. He's predicted through Rhythm to get 3.3 catches. So you need 2. Rhythm is saying you can get upwards of a little bit more than 3, so 3.3 technically. But that's a decent little edge there toward the over. Again, smart signal meeting all the conditions here to play the over. And if you ever want to scroll down, it'll give you the exact conditions that have to be met. But if you look at Fant in this spot, against New England, he only had 1 catch. But look at all of these green games where he was decently involved in the offense. 5, 2 wouldn't, or that would cash for you. But 3, 4. I mean, he's consistently getting you between 2, 3, 4, 5 catches per game with Burrow back, with Chase back as well. So you got to focus on Chase. I know you have Gesicki and some of these other guys, Yosivash, but Fant, not going to be a very popular play. I'll put it not quite in the Flournoy because you probably remember Fant. He was in the Iowa Cade and he was a first-round pick, so a little bit more name recognition. But still, a guy that's a little bit under the radar, over 1.5. He's predicted 3.3. I'm thinking of riding this Rhythm signal here and going Fant over 1.5. What do you think, Cade? Can he get us 2 catches in a windy divisional game?
Let's see what we have. I have him at 3.2 for 20.7 yards. So, yeah, again, he's been involved. I agree, and rightfully so. I do think with Gesicki's injury troubles within the last couple weeks, I know he came back. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He's been back for a little bit, but ultimately, anytime you have a good wide receiver out, these lower end guys that you don't really see often, I expect them to get a little bit more playing time or action or even just snaps in general or just work them into the schemes. You're going to do everything you can to get anybody the ball, really. I mean, if you have one of your star guys out, you're going to need to use just about all your weapons. So he was one that I'm under. I'm also liking Tinsley, who did have a really good game last week as well. So I'm on him again as well this week.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Cade, there's a lot of talk. I'm in New England. I listen to Boston Talk Radio. Christian Gonzalez gets toasted by, what is his name, Mitch Tinsley or whatever? Everyone's calling him.
Tinsley,
yeah. So I was like, sometimes it happens, but a lot of Patriots fans in my neck of the woods, they couldn't believe that Christian Gonzalez got toasted there. So yeah, maybe a guy you could also maybe Tinsley's buy low on.
Nasty route runner. I've only seen him in person once or twice, but I don't know. Maybe it's the fan of me talking, but I'm a big fan of that guy. Oh no, he's always under 2. All right, maybe never
under 1.5. That's all right though. He's gonna catch a touchdown for us. We might need it, Cade. So fingers crossed on that one.
I'll take a touchdown. I did have that, but I didn't take a receiving prop. I took a touchdown, so that is different. I'll give you that.
Love it. Let's go to the Bears game because we got these. What did they start a few years ago? The Black Friday afternoon game. So Chicago Bears going to the Philadelphia Eagles. This one's kind of interesting because it really hasn't moved too much. It pretty much opened Philly -7. It's pretty much stayed Philly -7. I did notice that a couple books did briefly get down to 6.5 and then come back to 7. There are a couple books that briefly got up to 7.5 and came back down to 7. So it looks like there's a lot of two-way action. Maybe odds makers feel like they kind of set a perfect line to entice two-way action. And that's what you're seeing because you look at DraftKings, it's basically 50-50. Half the tickets are taking the points with Chicago. Half the tickets are laying it here with Philly. I'm looking toward the Bears, though, in this one here, Cade. I mean, at what point do we just say the Bears got something going? I mean, they start 0-2, but they've gone 8-1 in their last 9. They came through for us last week with a smart signal money line play. We had to sweat it out. They're up 10. They gave up a score. They're up 3, but they hung on and won. That's the importance of money lining short favorites. You might have pushed to 3, but you won with the money line there with Da Bears. Now they're going to the Eagles. You got to get your Prime Video, kid, ready to go for this one. If you're expecting ESPN, you ain't getting it. But you look at the Eagles losing to the Dallas Cowboys. You know, was that a fluke? Up 21 and blow it? Is that reason to be alarmed with the Eagles? Who knows? I think you can make a case both ways. But is this a game where the Eagles win but don't cover the number? Because if you look at this spot here, it's a standalone game. It's not a primetime game, but it would be a dog in a take the points heavily bet game. Again, not quite contrarian either. Like I'd like it more, Cade, if like 70% of tickets are on Philly. It worries me a little bit. I'm not going to call Chicago trendy because trendy to me is popular, getting like 60% or more. This is a game where I would really focus on what's the next move and where does this close. Like if you see these 7 start to get down to 6.5, between now and Friday afternoon, that's a great sign for Chicago. If it ticks up 7 to 7.5 in favor of Philly, I think that's going to obviously point toward the Eagles here. I'm sure a lot of bettors are going to, money line parlay or tease down Philly. That makes some sense as well, coming off a loss. And Jalen Hurts in the spot has been really good at home as a straight up favorite. He's like 86%, 25-4 overall. But I'm not like sold. I don't like love this or anything, but I'm thinking maybe we take the points here with the Chicago Bears. If we look at some of these Bears recommendations, all three with Da Bears with Ditka, at least one of them was a Green Star recommendation. First one is Bears plus 5.6. Second model is Bears plus 5.3. And the third model is Bears plus 5.4. So Rithmm is saying it should be around a 5-point game. You can get a 7. Maybe you can wait and get a hook and get a 7.5. What do you think, Cade? Convince me to take Da Bears because I kind of want to take the Bears here.
Just press the button, man. Just do it. I have them at 7.5. I think I bought a point on Novik here. Yeah. I don't like Sirianni off of a loss. He's one of the least profitable coaches ever in the history of the sport coming off of a loss. I don't like him at all. Or sorry, that system actually says since 2021. I apologize. Since 2021, he is amongst the 4th worst least profitable coach off of a loss to back against the spread. That is 8-14 to be exact. Now, we don't necessarily have a ton of Black Friday systems, considering these have only been, I think there's, 2 games in the last?
Yeah,
I forget.
It's a relatively new thing. Another way for the NFL to make money, Cade. I mean, I like the football, but...
Yeah. I agree. The Bears are being undervalued, in my opinion, in this spot. Very much so. I mean, what more do they have to do? I mean, they're 8-3. They've gotten some really good wins. And this is really funny. I was doing even more reading on this. The Bears are actually the worst graded 8-3 team ever by DVOA through this many weeks. That is going back to the 1970s. So I thought that was really funny. But I mean, they've just been really good against the spread. I mean, like, I don't know why they're a wagon, but I guess they are. I wish I had more of a cap on this game, honestly, but it's just, and I hate capping a backdoor, but I don't really think it's a backdoor. I just think it's by a touchdown. I don't know. I wish I had more, but again, models are green, and I'm right, kind of sitting right there with you. I just gotta put my hand on it and trust it. But
I'm with
where
you.
we're at.
No, I'm with you. And again, I would like. It's weird. I want the 7.5, but I also want to see it get down to 6.5. So, one of those two things is going to happen. You're not going to get both. But I am seeing a couple books. At least ESPN Bet right now is -7, -115 Eagles. So you could buy up the Bears. +7, -105 up to +7.5, -120, -125. So there are some options
I got
there.
-119 on Novig, so it's not necessarily losing a ton of sense, if you want to call it that. It's pretty much what it is at that point.
Yeah, so I think that's where I'm going to go. And, again, I haven't watched a ton of Bears games. I did Stat Track. I didn't have the channel. Kate, I can't afford all these packages and everything, but I had them against the Bengals when they were like up big, blew it, then they were down, then they scored at the end with Loveland. So they just got maybe some mojo going. I don't know what it is. Obviously, Ben Johnson is probably the biggest factor, a good coach, and Caleb Williams playing pretty well. But yeah, I'm thinking toward the points here right there with you. Now, let's get one more because Parker wanted us to hit all the primetime games. So I need to get your take on the Patriots. Patriots at home against the G-Men. Now, this is a spot where you can get the hook with the Giants. Cade, let me throw it to you. Is this Jackson Dart? Is he going to play in this one? Or what's the deal? What do we know about the quarterback spot here?
As far as I know, I think he was still in protocol. And it looks like he might be out.
Yeah, I'm seeing
full participant in practice, but they're not committing him to play on Monday is the most recent thing that I'm seeing. That was at noon today.
Okay. So we got a
trending kind of meh.
Yeah, so we'll get Jameis Winston again. What's going to happen here? So
seems like it. I don't hate it though. I think either way.
I'm kind of with you, and I'll make a case. Obviously, I'm a Patriots fan. I have to disclose that just to let people know. But I'm willing to bet against my favorite teams, Kate. I learned a long time ago that some of your best wins are when you take the fan hat off and just put the bettor's hat on and play the number. Because
there you go.
One of the biggest mistakes a lot of recreational bettors make, and I've been there. It's hard. You want to bet. You let your bias seep in and say, I'm a Pats fan. I want to bet against them. I want to bet on them Monday night and cash a big ticket. But again, that's one of the first things you got to learn, not to let that bias get injected into your plays, because it'll talk you out of good ones and into bad ones. But one thing that I noticed here, again, we'll wait on the quarterback, is that the Patriots in this spot, they have some injuries going on, like just in general. Yeah. The left side of their line has issues. We have Will Campbell, who's going to be out for at least 4 games. Jared Wilson's going to be out. So that whole left side is going to be Vidarian Lowe and Ben Brown. And maybe that's an angle that if you're going up against Burns and, all these incredible pass rushers, Abdul Carter, it's a little bit scary if I'm a Patriots fan here. Public is still just hammering New England at this point. They're getting upwards of 60, 70% of tickets. But the 7.5 is juiced toward the Giants. Again, not knowing who the quarterback will be. So all these 7.5s are looking like maybe it gets down to 7. They would match as a primetime dog. And you look at these rhythm angles, all 3 Giants recommendations. First one, G-Men plus 5.6. Second recommendation, Giants plus 4.2. And then the final recommendation, your second Green Star recommendation, 4.8. So with the issues on the left side, again, Patriots, they have one of the latest buys. They have not had a bye week this year, so their bye is after this game. They played a lot of football. They've been awesome. But again, you almost failed to sneak by the Bengals. Shout out to you, Kate. I know you had that bold prediction that the Bengals would win outright. You covered the number, and you almost won the game outright. Patriots look like a team to me. I don't know. They could use their bye week. Like, this is a spot where you win by 7, you win by 6, you win by, I don't know if it's going to be a 3-point game, but Rithmm is saying take the points. Market is moving toward the G-Men. If you look at Circa, actually, 60% tickets, over 90% of the money is on Giants plus the points. So I'm giving you like the the Patriots take, because I follow this team every day, listen to talk radio. I'm pretty tied in. From an outsider perspective, Cade, your thoughts on the Pats? Your thoughts on the Pats in this spot, and do you have interest, regardless of the quarterback, in the G-Men plus 7.5?
I think I was a game early. I'll just start with that.
Ooh, they're going to lose to the G-Men. We've lost to them in big games in the past, Cade. It wouldn't be.
I did it again. I know. The price is too good. We're sitting at roughly around, again, plus 300 again. The Giants, I kind of put them in the same pool as the Bengals, honestly. I mean, they have a really good defense. Their offense isn't obviously quite as much firepower as they do. But in terms of just overall balancing, I think they're pretty much amongst the same kind of tier in a way. A lot of bad luck, though, or a lot of positive luck, I should say, on the Patriots side. They've gotten away with a lot, and ultimately, it's just I don't know how far it can go within backing it. So these next few weeks, I think we'll see valuable fade spots for them. I know that you have obviously the Giants this week. Following the bye week, you do come back to a Sunday game at home against, I believe it's Buffalo, right after the fact.
And then the Ravens, yeah.
And then, it's not necessarily anything that's going to be gimmies in a way. I think this is a good fade spot right before they get into a really thick part of their schedule. And then we just see, unfortunately for your case, we see a little bit of some regression come in after the bye week. Ultimately, you hit on it as well. It's just a bad matchup, really good defensive front, really banged up offensive front. And I could see it outright. I'm sorry. I took it though. I make it roughly just under 4. So I think it's just enough. It's literally the same exact model, leaned and modeled numbers. I think they're off by a single point from Bengals last week and this game this week. So I'm doing it again. I'm going with it.
And the Patriots have just been so good, so consistent. I mean, this win streak is ridiculous. It's just, I don't know. I mean, if you look at the schedule, like, I don't want to bet on something being due. That's another big mistake bettors make. Oh, they're due to this happen. Like,
right.
Again, but again, they're kind of due for a loss. They're due for a game that, as I say that, and then I just, I'm a hypocrite and I go against it. It does feel like there's some, I don't know, chinks in the armor, whatever you want to call it. They played a lot of football. Again, they haven't had their bye week, and they had the extra time off the Jets game where the Jets covered the 13.5. You'd think they're rejuvenated. Drake May in that game against the Bengals, Cade, his first few passes were just really off and just looked weird. Obviously, they won the game, but I don't know. The 7.5 to me, following Rithmm, taking the points of the G-Men, that's the play. That's the side I got to take.
Should have won that game if it wasn't for the pick 6. Flacco. Colin. That was it, too. But I'm with you.
You were so close, Cade. But there we go. The stream is over and done with. I want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in, for listening. Cade, we put our head down and just grind these streams, and it's been, a long season. I think when you get to the holidays, sometimes you enjoy a little bit of family. You still got your eye on the games, but I don't know. Thankful for working with you, my man, learning from you and cashing tickets together, and thankful to be a part of Rithmm, the small part that we play to really promote and show bettors how you can use Rithmm to your advantage. So hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Reminder, you can download Rithmm, give it a 5-star review in the App Store, use promo code START25 for 25% off. We got the new layout. We got the new bet sync with DraftKings. A lot of great things happening here. Cade, final thoughts, take us home, and I'll put you on the spot. What are you thankful for? Because you're going to go around the table with your family, and someone's going to say, what is their health, family? I mean, you get the same ones, which are true, but what's your answer to that?
I'll go with a different one here. Ooh. I'm a big collector guy, memorabilia. I get to find the memories in the smaller things. I'm a bobblehead collector. I have all the Legos. I'm a 5-year-old still at heart. I have my Star Wars Legos on my desk right next to me here. So no, I'm thankful for a lot of stuff. I mean, we have a very blessed family. Very happy, looking to put a ring on the woman's finger here within the next couple of years. So it's getting intense. We're hitting that stage. We're hitting the sappy life. It's like stuff is setting in. It's getting real. But no, phenomenal company. It's always a pleasure getting on here every Thursday. or Wednesdays in some cases, to get on here and just talk some ball and, get behind the pure data science behind it. It's always fascinating to me, however this stuff kind of comes up with. And of course, learning from one of the best in the industry, of course. And it's been a phenomenal experience. And we're not done yet. We have a lot more of these, and I'm very excited to keep it rolling into next year as well. And so, yeah, it's been a phenomenal journey thus far, and I'm excited to keep it rolling. But I gotta ask, what are you calling for on the plate tomorrow? Like, what's your choice?
Oh man. So here's what you can look forward to, because you're gonna put a ring on it, and you're getting to that point in life. So I'm happily married, 2 years married again, and my in-laws who lived in San Diego moved to New Hampshire, about an hour from us. So this is the first Thanksgiving that my in-laws are hosting. So we'll be going up there tomorrow. I have my 20-year high school reunion, Cade, on Friday night, which I'm going to. And then my family will do Thanksgiving with them on Saturday. They're going to delay it. My sister's going to come down with her family. But to me, you take a roll, you put butter in it, you dip it into mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, you crush it. To me, that's the best you can get. Also, honey baked ham. I don't know if you ever had one of those. They're probably tons of sodium, terrible for you, going to clog your arteries and make you have a heart attack later in life.
Let's do it. Yeah.
But I've been doing that the last few years, and people have been loving it. So that's what I'm doing. But how about you, man? What's your favorite?
I just got to say, it's ham over turkey all day.
Oh, yeah.
It's the proper choice. If you're going turkey, you might need to do a little health check on yourself. Get a little bit of more flavor in your life. You don't need the white meat that you just put the salt and pepper on. You need everything. You got to get the juices. You got to get everything that's in there. Goodness. I'm a traditional guy, though. Green beans, dressing, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes. I don't know. Hit me with it. I don't care. What's going on there, though?
Do you guys do mac and cheese, by the way?
We do. My aunt makes a mean, foil of just baked mac and cheese where it's got the crust on the top, and so you just dig in, you pull it out, and it's got it looks like a 12-string guitar whenever you pull it. You can strum, it's one of those, but it's banging. Yeah,
that's awesome. Because again, we'll wrap this up here, but I'll just tell you, we never had mac and cheese. It just was not a thing in my family. We're I don't know, old Pilgrim, Puritan, traditionalist New Englanders. And recently, my brother-in-law has been making mac and cheese. It's been happening for a few years now. And it's where was mac and cheese my whole life on Thanksgiving? So, shout out to your aunt. That sounds pretty good. But yeah, good luck, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week. And yeah, have a great NFL triple header tomorrow. Take care.